Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. AI coding assistants are all the rage these days, right? And we keep getting questions about how to choose the right one. So today we're going to tackle one specific question that a listener sent us.
Oh, cool.
ChatGPT Canvas versus Cursor AI. Which one should you actually use?
Yeah, that's a hot topic for sure.
It is, and luckily our listener also sent us this fantastic comparison article from the Algo Academy blog
Nice.
to help us break it all down. So consider this your guide to navigating this ever-changing world of AI coding assistants.
Because let's face it, things are changing so fast, it seems like every week there's a new tool or update.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up.
It really is. But that's what we're here for, to help you make sense of it all.
Exactly. So let's dive right in and introduce the contenders. First up, we have ChatGPT Canvas, the latest and greatest from OpenAI.
Ah, yes. Canvas.
What really struck me about Canvas is its emphasis on collaboration. It's like having a coding buddy right there with you, working side by side.
I see what you mean.
It's not just about giving you code snippets. It's about explaining the why behind the code, helping you understand the concepts and best practices.
So it's more interactive then.
Yeah, much more. You can get inline editing suggestions, comprehensive code reviews, and even help with debugging and language translation.
Wow, that's quite a toolkit.
It is. And then on the other side, we have Cursor AI,
Cursor AI, another popular one.
a strong contender for sure.
Yeah, and it's been around for a bit longer than Canvas, right?
That's right. Now, Cursor AI takes a different approach. Instead of a separate window, it integrates directly into your development environment.
So it's more like an extension of your existing workflow.
Precisely. It aims to be seamless, providing AI-powered code completion, code generation from your prompts, and an integrated chat for when you need some quick help.
So right away, we see this fundamental difference in integration. Canvas is a separate space, while Cursor AI is embedded right in your code.
Exactly. And that design choice has a big impact on how you actually use the tool.
For sure, with Canvas, you have this dedicated space for interacting with the AI. You can have your code in one window, Canvas, right next to it, and really focus on the back and forth, the explanations, the in-depth analysis.
It's like having a separate lab for experimenting with the AI as your lab partner.
I like that analogy. But it also means you're constantly switching between windows, which can be a bit disruptive to your flow.
True. Whereas with Cursor AI, it's all about staying in the zone.
Hmm.
The assistance is right there within your code editor, anticipating your needs and providing help without you having to break your stride.
Yeah, that sounds super efficient. But I can also see how some developers might become overly reliant on the suggestions and maybe miss out on thinking through problems on their own.
Yeah, that's a valid concern.
Yeah,
It's like anything else, you have to find the right balance between using the tool and using your own brain.
right. Because at the end of the day, you're still the developer, the one making the decisions.
Exactly. These tools are here to augment our abilities, not to replace us. Well said. So we've got these two different approaches, separate window versus integrated assistance. How do they actually play out when it comes to things like code editing and review?
That's a great question, and that's where we'll pick up in the next part of our deep dive.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back to our deep dive into ChatGPT, Canvas, and Cursor AI. Now let's talk about how these AI assistants handle the nitty-gritty of code editing and review.
All right, so we've got Canvas on one side, emphasizing collaboration and in-depth understanding.
Right, it's all about working alongside the AI, getting feedback, and really delving into the code.
And then we have Cursor AI on the other side, prioritizing speed efficiency and that seamless integration into your workflow.
Yeah, so how do those philosophies translate into actual features?
Well, with Canvas, it's all about those inline suggestions and comprehensive code reviews. Imagine you're working on a piece of code and you want to get some
Maybe we'll
feedback.
highlight a section.
Yeah,
Boom, Canvas steps in and not only gives you suggestions for improvements, but also explains the reasoning behind those suggestions.
it's like having a senior developer looking over your shoulder and saying, hey, you could do this a bit better, and here's why.
Exactly. It's not just about fixing the code, it's about teaching you how to write better code.
That's really valuable, especially for someone who's still learning or who wants to deepen their understanding of best practices.
Right. It's like having a built-in mentor.
Okay, so Canvas is all about that collaborative learning experience. What about Cursor AI?
Well, Cursor AI is more about streamlining the coding process. So think as you type suggestions, context-aware edits, and even the ability to generate code from your comments.
So it's like having an extra pair of hands helping you write code faster.
Exactly. And that can be a real time saver, especially when you're dealing with repetitive tasks or trying to get a basic structure in place quickly.
I can see how that would be appealing, especially when you're on a tight deadline.
Absolutely. It's all about efficiency.
But I do wonder if that level of assistance could potentially lead to some developers becoming overly reliant on the tool and maybe
Uh,
not thinking through the code as thoroughly as they would otherwise.
Yeah, that's a valid point. It's all about finding the right balance between using the tool and using your own judgment.
Right. You don't want to become a mindless code-generating machine.
Definitely not. The human developer is still in charge.
Now, another crucial factor to consider is language support.
Ah, yes. If you're working across multiple languages or dealing with legacy code, this is a big one.
This is where Canvas really impressed me with its cross-language translation capabilities.
I was blown away by that too. It can translate code between popular languages like JavaScript, Python, Java, and even more.
And it's not just a simple translation. It also explains the differences between the languages and what adjustments were made during the translation process.
It's like having a bilingual programmer right there with you, making sure the translated code is not only syntactically correct, but also idiomatic and follows best practices.
That's so helpful, especially when you're working with a team that uses different languages or if you need to integrate code from different sources.
Right, it can really bridge the communication gap.
Cursor AI also supports multiple languages,
Mm.
but its focus is more on providing language-specific assistance within a project. So if you're working mainly in one language, it can still be very helpful.
Yeah, it's like having an expert in that particular language by your side, offering tailored suggestions, completions, and error detection.
But if you need that cross-language translation power, Canvas is definitely the way to go.
Agreed. So when it comes to language support, Canvas takes the lead with its breadth and depth.
All right, let's move on to the dreaded but inevitable part of every developer's life, debugging.
Ah, yes, debugging the ultimate puzzle-solving challenge.
But hey, both Canvas and Cursor AI offer some really cool features to help make this process a bit less painful.
For sure. So with Canvas, it's all about taking an interactive, step-by-step approach to debugging.
Like having a debugging buddy right there with you.
Exactly. You're running into an error, you have no idea what's going on. Canvas can step in and automatically insert log statements into your code.
So you can actually see what's happening step by step.
Right. And it can also provide these detailed explanations of error messages, breaking down the jargon and making it clear what went wrong.
So it's not just about fixing the bug, it's about understanding why it occurred in the first place.
Exactly. It's about learning from your mistakes and becoming a better debugger.
And that's incredibly valuable, especially for those who are still learning the ropes of debugging.
Absolutely. Now, Cursor AI takes a different approach, more real-time and preventative.
Okay, how so?
It's constantly analyzing your code as you type, looking for potential errors, and offering suggestions for quick fixes.
So it's like having a linter on steroids powered by AI.
That's a good way to put it. It's about catching errors early on before they even become a problem.
That sounds super efficient.
It is.
Yeah.
But I can also see how some developers might find it a bit distracting to have these suggestions popping up all the time.
Yeah, it's all about personal preference. Some people might love that constant feedback, while others might find it disruptive.
Right. You have to find what works best for you.
So if you prefer a methodical, step-by-step approach to debugging Canvas might be the way to go.
But if you value speed and efficiency and want to catch errors before they even have a chance to hatch, then Cursor AI could be your best bet.
So we've talked about code editing, review language support, and debugging. Now let's move on to another crucial aspect of software development learning.
All right, so how do these AI assistants stack up as learning tools?
Well, one of the things that really impressed me about Canvas is how it goes beyond just providing information. It's like having a personal tutor who can explain complex concepts in a way that's easy to understand.
I agree. It's not just about giving you the answer, it's about teaching you how to think about the problem.
Exactly. Imagine you're trying to wrap your head around a new framework or a particularly tricky algorithm. You can paste the code into Canvas and ask it to explain what's going on line by line.
And it will break it down for you step by step, pointing out the key concepts and explaining the logic behind the code.
It's like having a code whisperer who can demystify even the most confusing code.
I love that analogy.
So if you're someone who likes to dive deep and really understand the why behind the code, Canvas is a fantastic learning tool.
Agreed. Now, Cursor AI, while not as focused on in-depth explanations, can still be very helpful for learning in a more practical way.
Okay, in what sense?
Well, imagine you're in the middle of coding and you need to quickly look up the documentation for a function or library. Cursor AI can pull up that documentation right within your editor.
So you don't have to break your flow and go searching online.
Exactly. It's all about keeping you in the zone. It can also generate example code snippets to demonstrate specific techniques or concepts, which is really helpful for learning by doing.
So if you're more of a hands-on learner who prefers to learn by experimenting and seeing code in action, then Cursor AI might be a better fit.
Right. It's all about finding the learning style that works best for you.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Code editing, review language support, debugging learning. But there's still more to explore.
Yeah, we've only just scratched the surface.
In the next part of our deep dive, we'll delve into some of the more advanced features and considerations for choosing between ChatGPT Canvas and Cursor AI. Stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of AI coding assistants.
ChatGPT Canvas versus Cursor AI.
We've covered a lot of ground, haven't we?
We have. It's been a pretty intense comparison so far.
It has. But hopefully by now you're starting to get a feel for the strengths and weaknesses of each tool.
Yeah, and how those strengths and weaknesses might align with your own individual needs and priorities.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do a little recap and try to pull it all together.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's go back to that fundamental difference we talked about earlier, separate window versus integrated assistance.
Right, Canvas is all about having that dedicated space for interacting with the AI.
Your code in one window,
Yeah.
Canvas, right next to it.
You can really focus on the collaboration, the
Yeah.
back and forth, the deep dives into the code.
It's like having a separate lab for experimenting with the AI.
Yeah, a coding lab with this super smart AI assistant by your side,
But of course, that also means you're constantly switching between windows.
which can be a bit disruptive to your flow.
Whereas with Cursor AI, it's all about staying in the zone,
The assistance is right there within your code editor.
anticipating your needs, providing help without you having to break your stride.
It's like having a coding buddy who can read your mind and just knows what you need before you even ask.
Now, when it comes to code editing and review, we see a similar divide.
Canvas is all about that collaborative learning experience.
Working alongside the AI, getting feedback, understanding the reasoning behind the suggestions.
It's like having a mentor who's not only helping you fix the code, but also teaching you how to write better code,
Cursor AI, on the other hand, is more about streamlining the process,
making things as efficient as possible.
automating those repetitive tasks, generating code from your prompts, offering real-time suggestions that fit the context of your project.
It's like having an extra pair of hands to help you get the job done faster,
And then there's language support, which is a big one for many developers.
especially if you're working across multiple languages or dealing with legacy code.
And in this area, Canvas really shines with its cross-language translation capabilities.
Seriously, it's mind-blowing how well it can translate code between different languages.
And not only that, it also explains the differences between the languages and the choices it made during the translation process.
It's like having a bilingual programmer right there with you, ensuring that the translated code is not just syntactically correct, but also idiomatic and follows best practices.
Cursor AI also supports multiple languages, but its focus is more on providing language-specific assistance within a project.
So if you're working mainly in one language, it can still be very helpful.
But if you need that cross-language translation power, Canvas is the clear winner.
Agreed. Now let's talk about debugging, everyone's favorite topic.
Oh yeah, we all love spending hours tracking down those pesky bugs.
But hey, both Canvas and Cursor AI offer some cool features to make debugging a bit less painful.
Canvas takes that interactive step-by-step approach,
It's like having a debugging buddy right there with you.
helping you understand the error, explaining what went wrong, suggesting potential solutions,
And then you have Cursor AI, which is more real-time and preventative.
constantly analyzing your code, looking for potential errors, offering quick fixes.
It's like having a linter on steroids powered by AI.
Now, when it comes to learning, both tools have their own strength,
Canvas is all about depth and understanding.
providing those detailed explanations, generating comprehensive documentation, breaking down complex concepts,
Cursor AI is more hands-on and practical.
offering just-in-time information, generating example code snippets, helping you learn by doing.
And then there's the whole customization and flexibility aspect.
Canvas lets you customize how you interact with the AI.
You can adjust the writing style, the level of detail, the complexity of the code examples.
Cursor AI, on the other hand, focuses on customizing the coding experience itself.
Configuring suggestions, creating custom snippets, training the AI on your specific coding style.
And finally, we need to talk about privacy and data handling, which is always a concern with AI tools.
Right, with Canvas, your code and text may be used to improve OpenAI's models.
So that's something to be aware of, especially if you're working with sensitive code.
But Canvas doesn't store your code or projects permanently.
Cursor AI might offer local processing and offline capabilities, which could enhance privacy.
but it also needs access to your entire project to provide context-aware suggestions.
So it's really important to carefully consider the privacy implications of each tool.
All right, so after all this back and forth, what's the final verdict?
Well, the truth is there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
The best tool for you depends on your individual needs, priorities, and preferences.
If you value depth of understanding, collaboration, and detailed explanations.
And you're looking for a tool that can help you learn, debug effectively, and translate code between languages.
Then ChatGPT Canvas might be the right choice.
But if you prioritize speed efficiency, seamless integration, and real-time assistance,
And you're looking for a tool that can help you write code faster, catch errors early on, and adapt to your coding style.
then Cursor AI might be a better fit.
Ultimately, the best way to decide is to try both tools and see which one feels more natural and productive for you.
Agreed. And remember, this is just the beginning.
The world of AI coding assistance is constantly evolving.
So stay curious, keep learning, and embrace the possibilities.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into ChatGPT Canvas and Cursor AI.
Thanks for joining us.
We hope you found it helpful and informative.
And until next time, happy coding, everyone.